with them one-on-one and making sure that they're clear on it. Okay, they're clear on it. So the last thing that I'll talk about, and then we'll call it a day. And if you have any questions or anything like that, however you guys want to do questions, I'm happy to do that. But the last thing that I'll kind of talk about is, is being able to, if you guys ever, when you go to, like we're gonna go into the holiday season, right? We got, our various holidays and stuff like that, end of the year, whatnot. And you're going to wind up running into a lot of people. You know what one of my goals was when I came into WFG? Is I told you guys this earlier, I don't like chasing other people around. I don't like chasing people around. And so what happens is that I wanted to figure out a way that I could get other people to chase me. Okay. And so what happens is it's like, what is people's perception of you? A friend of mine told me, says, did you know that no matter how hungry fish are when you're fishing, if you dive into the water and start splashing around, there's not a fish alive that's going to jump in your boat, right? And just be like, oh, I'm going to just jump in the boat. That's what we do when we go prospecting or when we go talk to people, at parties and stuff like that, is that this is what happens. People go, oh, so what do you do? And you go, oh, well, let me tell you, I've got this business that's amazing, and it helps people to be multimillionaires, and we're helping folks for financial independence. You know what happens as soon as you do that? Everyone gets creeped out and they run away. Okay, and I'm being honest with you, right? And they go, oh, you see it on their face. They do one of these. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm in financial services. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. My cousin does that. I'm going to go over here and talk to nobody, right? While you're over here weirding everybody out. Okay. So have you ever seen a doctor show up to a party? Doctor comes in and everyone's like, oh, the doctor's here. Right. And then what happens is throughout the party, the doctor's like, at the punch bowl and at the, at the getting the little finger foods or at dinner. And, hey, doc, I hate to bother you about this, but, I got this rash on my elbow. Can you take a look at it real quick? I'm so sorry. I know. And the doctor's like, yeah, I guess so. Right. Chiropractors are the same way. Oh, hey, I had a bad workout. I didn't have a chance to get it stretched. Hey, doc, do you think you can, give me a couple of cracks in the other room, and they go in there, they do it, right? Wouldn't you want to have that reaction when you walk into a room? I was like, man, that'd be awesome, right? I have that reaction now. You know what I mean? It's actually funny. I'll walk into a party and people are like, oh, that's the money guy. Like, oh, that's my money. That's my money guy. For money. If you want to know anything, that's the guy you need to talk to. That's how people refer me to folks, right? And so what happens is that the way I look at it is that it's all on how you wind up presenting it to folks, right? Is how you're going to wind up doing it. And so what do? Is I said there was a concept, and what it is it's basically this is what how you control the conversation. Okay. And so I'm going to give you guys a magic formula that's going to help you a great deal. Some of you guys have seen me do this before, but I thought, you know what? It's a good time. We haven't talked to each other in a couple of years. I think it's worthwhile to repeat it. But what it is, this was my dad, God rest his soul. My dad, he's not with us anymore, but he was the one that showed me this. He was the one that taught it to me. Right. And I was like, Dad, you're freaking brilliant. My dad, Greg Kapp, he always loved this. He goes, your dad's description of WFG is like the best description. And I was like, and this is what my dad told Greg Kapp. He goes, you know what you do at WFG? You know what you do? He goes, you guys tell stories and help people make decisions. And I was like, that's stupidly simple. He goes, yeah, all you do is tell stories and then ask for a decision. That's it. And I was like, and Greg Kapp was like mind blown. It's like, oh my gosh. Coleman, your dad, he's awesome. That's amazing, right? So my dad brought me this prospecting script, which I thought was very, not prospecting, but like a way to present the business. So if someone asks you, what do you do? What's your answer? Right? Any one of those things. I'm in financial services. I own my own agency. I help people, financial independence, blah, 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 blah. Well, what you got to do is you got to answer the question without weirding people out. And you also have to put in a way that you gain altitude. Does that make sense? So what happens, you go in and you're talking to people, you don't have any altitude. Well, how do you immediately gather altitude? So we'll talk to you about that. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you kind of want to, in my opinion, is you want to draw first blood. What does that mean? That you want to find out what they do before they find out what you do. Now I'm going to show you how to fix that, even if you don't, okay? But let's go through here. And what are some, like form is family, occupation, recreation, and message. What are some of the occupations of people that you would like to have on your team? Okay. Well, I'll just give you some because for the sake of just moving this along. But would you guys like to have some doctors on your team? Okay. What about some attorneys? Maybe not. I don't know. CPAs. Okay. Maybe you'd like some truck drivers. Truck drivers might be kind of cool. Canadian truck drivers are very famous here in America. We really appreciate them, right? Then we also got, what else do we have? Truck drivers. You've got school teachers, right? Teachers, maybe. Business owners. So would you guys want some of these guys on your team? Absolutely. Okay. Now on the other side of this little magic formula, what are the 6 steps of the FNA, the financial needs analysis? You guys may use it or may not, but what are they? Number 1 is you got to work on cash flow, right? Debt, emergency funds, insurance. Then we also have assets and estate. Okay. And then assets break down into what 2 subcategories? Taxes and inflation. Okay. So this here is how you organize. Like, so if I were, at a party and someone comes up to me and I say, oh, you know what? Oh, what do you do for work? We're at the punch bowl and say, hey, so what do you do? How do you know so-and-so? How do you know the host of the party? And they go, oh, we're friends, blah, blah, blah. I say, oh, what do you do for work? Small talk, chit chat. They go, oh, well, I'm a doctor. Oh, that's funny. Oh, why is that funny? I said, oh, I work with doctors. Oh, they go, oh, are you a doctor too? And I said, no, I'm not a doctor. I said, but I work with doctors. And I said, oh, what do you do? As soon as they ask me that question, right? How do I answer it? Well, it's very easy. There's 3 steps to this formula. If someone asks you, what do you do? 1, 2, 3. Okay. The first one is how, ... What I do, right? I/we do is ... so that they. Okay, ... Okay, there's your formula. How? Well, what I do is so that they. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So someone comes up to me and says, oh, I'm a doctor. Oh, really? Oh, I work with doctors. Oh, what do you do? I said, well, gosh, how do I explain it? Take a breath. Oops, sorry. Take a breath, right? You don't have to, there's that again. All right, I'll just go back. So you take a breath and they go, oh, well, how, right? How doctors, and then state a problem that doctors have. Doctors work long hours and they're always running around helping to save other people's lives and, and all that kind of stuff. Well, what I do is I help doctors unplug for just a minute to define their goals and help them figure out what they want to do in life, like long term, I figure out their exit strategy with them so that they can retire in abundance and have all of their plan, like all of their, like they have a very solid exit strategy so that they can actually feel comfortable about, what they want to do in life. They can accomplish their goals and dreams. What is a doctor gonna, if I said that to a doctor, they're gonna go, wait, how do you do that? I want that. That sounds amazing. That's me. I work long hours. What do you mean you help doctors to do that? That sounds awesome. You know what I do? Say, hey, why don't we exchange contact information? We'll set up some time. You can pop by my office or we'll go have lunch or something like that. Let's exchange contact information. If you're really sly, you go, hey, listen, before we go, we'll exchange contact information before the party's over. Just make sure that I don't leave before. You know what's going to happen? The whole party, that doctor's got a laser beam on you everywhere you're walking, right? You watch it. You walk, you break for the door, you see him. You literally, it's like it pulls him to you. It's like, hey, don't forget, we need to exchange contact information before you go. I won't forget, doc. No worries. We'll set it up. No worries. Okay. You go along. Let's do another one. School teachers. Oh, you're a school teacher? That's interesting. I work with school teachers. Oh, you work with school teachers? Oh, what are you, an administrator or something? Oh, no, I wouldn't do that. No, what I do is, well, you know how school teachers are so busy, like they got that 10 months out of the year where they're killing themselves, like teaching other people's children and stuff like that. And, and they're just so swamped that they never take time for themselves. You know how that is with school teachers? What's a school teacher going to say? Oh, absolutely. That's exactly me. I'll say, well, what I do is I take school teachers, right? And I actually help them set goals. And I also showed them how to use their skill set as a school teacher to create a secondary source of income so that they can actually retire faster and be able to have more financial independence, right? So that they can be more financially independent much faster. School teachers go, what do you mean? You take school teachers that already, I said, I take their already existing skill set and show them how to apply that in another field so that they can actually become, financially independent. I mean, isn't it true? Don't we always say that school teachers should be the highest paid people? They're the ones in charge of taking care of our children. Yes. Well, do you feel like you're highly paid? Not at all. I said, if I could show you how you could leverage your skills as a school teacher in order to be able to, to make your dream income, is that something you want? Absolutely. Great. Hey, listen, before we go, let's make sure we exchange contact information, right? So now you do that a few times, like a half a dozen times. You got 6 people eyeballing you before you walk to the door. Now, all of a sudden, just like the doctor, just like the chiropractor, the people are chasing you. Does that make sense? This is awesome. Okay. So truck drivers. Oh my gosh, you're a truck driver? Yeah. I said, man, I love working with. I actually work with truck drivers. You do? How so? Well, you know how? You know how truck drivers are on the road, long hours away from their family. You know what I do? What I do, what my company does? We help truck drivers with their exit strategy so that they can retire earlier and with dignity and abundance. Truck drivers go, how the heck do you do that? Are you serious? Do you have a card? Do you have a card? Absolutely. You know what? Before we go, let's exchange contact information. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. What are you probably going to do? You're going to, you know what? Here's what I do. Let me just put you in my phone real quick, right? And then I'm just going to, you know what? Let's take a quick selfie together. Boom. They take a selfie. I'm going to mail you the selfie, right? I'm going to text it to you. Then you'll have my contact information. You'll remember how we met. And let's go ahead and we'll get something on the books and we can meet up this week. We can talk this week, right? And now all of a sudden you do that a few times in social circles and stuff like that. You know what's going to happen. Next thing you know, you're the authority in your group of people. You're the person with the altitude. You walk in, you don't need clients because everyone's knocking down your door. You know, I literally sat down. I ran into an old friend of mine from high school and at church, and she was like, "You didn't even." We had just she would have been on my top 25. It's just one of those things. I just didn't even think about her, and then we ran into each other, you know, and now her family's very, very wealthy. You know, fast forward, and she goes, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, you know, What, you know how, and so now, oh, let's talk about that. So I know what she does. I'm not going to do that with her, but I say, this is, what do you do if you don't know what they do? You go to your 6 steps of the needs analysis. They go, hey, so what do you do exactly? Says, well, you know how a lot of families struggle with their monthly cash flow. They're just not able to make ends meet. What I do and what my company does is we sit with families and coach them on how to turn the tables on their cash flow so they actually have more money at the end of the month instead of month at the end of the money. Right? That's what we do, is we help them. Oh, well, what do you do exactly? Oh, you know how a lot of families struggle with debt? They're just getting killed with debt. Well, what my company does is we take an educational approach to debt elimination so that not only do we get families out of debt, we keep them out of debt so that they have more money for their future so that they can actually retire with dignity and abundance. Oh, wow, that's amazing, right? What do you do? Life insurance one. That's an interesting. Well, you know how, listen to this, okay? This is a good one. Okay. You're not going to go, oh, you know, everyone needs life insurance. No. That doesn't make someone want to run after you. Right. You know how a lot of families, especially in today's, economy, you know how a lot of families, if they had the sudden loss of income of one of the primary breadwinners, you know how families, if they had a loss of income from one of their breadwinners, that they would be financially devastated, right? And not be able to take care of their kids. What my company does is we help put in place a really solid fundamental backup plan so that family, so that they can sleep better at night and they can have financial independence and be able to, take care of their kids should something happen and they don't have the money to be able to do so. We take that off their shoulders. We're like, how the heck do you do that? Did I mention life insurance in there? No. I mentioned what life insurance does, right? And so this formula, you can take any of these things. Oh, you know how, not that anyone's really cares about inflation these days. That's not a hot topic for anyone at this point, right? You know how inflation is eating up the value of our money? What my company does is we show you how to outpace inflation and also beat taxes in addition to that, so that they can actually wind up having more abundance and make their dollars stretch. That's what we do. I'm telling you guys, people will be chasing you down. And isn't it true? It's all just a fundamental shift in attitude. Isn't it true? It's totally true. Right. And so anyways, so you wind up going in there and you can utilize this, and at a party or in a prospecting situation, it winds up putting you in a really good position, in order to be able to do that. Yes, Josh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm getting the high fives in here, from everybody. But yes, this is very, very important stuff, I think. So any other questions or anything like that? You guys are awesome. I really appreciate,